Hey everybody, it's Mr. Dave here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to take D&D Beyond Adventure content and convert it over to Alchemy RPG. For those of you that are not familiar with Alchemy, Alchemy is a visual storytelling inspired VTT. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time in today's video talking about all the ins and outs of Alchemy RPG. That's not what this video is about, but I will tell you that if you are watching this video at the end of April 2023, Alchemy is currently up on Kickstarter, where you can go and back their development to move the product from version 0 point something to version 1. And in doing so, you have a lot of benefits of getting different modules, adventures, and even if you're interested, unlimited lifetime access to Alchemy RPG. So a big question that comes up when these new VTTs come to the market is, how do I take existing content, specifically on D&D Beyond, and get it on this new VTT platform? Now, as of the recording of this video, I am not aware of any of those tools existing. So I wanted to put this video together to show you how you can convert already purchased content from D&D Beyond over to Alchemy. I have Alchemy pulled up on the right, and I have D&D Beyond here on the left. And in Alchemy, where you would create your adventures is under Content Universes. And when you click there, you will see that up in the top here, you have purchased content. And so this is going to be adventures, supplements, any content that you purchased from Alchemy's official marketplace. But they also have this tab called Created, and this is where you can create your own universes and where you would be putting your content from D&D Beyond. Now, a couple things I want to share about when you create your universe is there's two approaches you can take. So one is you can create a universe. Once you create a universe, you have what are called modules, and you can create as many of these as you want under a paid plan. I think under a free plan, you're limited to 3. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. As you're thinking about your adventures from D&D Beyond, these are all WotC or Wizards of the Coast adventures. So one approach you could take is you could create one universe and call it WotC or Wizards of the Coast, and create an individual module for each adventure. So that's one method you could take. The second is you can create a universe for each individual adventure. I don't know that there's a right or a wrong way to go about this, but one thing that you need to be aware of is that how you get this content into an actual game is that you add a specific universe into the game. And so if you add all of your adventures to one universe as modules, and you add that to a game, you will then have access to all of the content across all of those adventures. That could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing, depending on how you think through it. So it could be overwhelming because now you have access to tons of NPCs and monsters, and it's up to you to remember and figure out, is this part of this adventure or not? I've chosen to go ahead and take the approach of creating a universe for each individual adventure. And so you can see here in my created, I created a universe called Lost Mine of Phandelver, and that's the adventure I'm going to be using for this demo. The reason why I use Lost Mine of Phandelver is that anyone can follow along. Right now on D&D Beyond, if you go and create an account, you actually get that adventure for free. So you could come right in here and click, and you will have access and can follow along. All right, so before we get into the actual conversion, there's one thing you need to know about how the text editor works in Alchemy, and it uses what's called Markdown. Markdown is essentially a universal format that is used across a lot of different text editors. The Alchemy help, so if you go to your Alchemy account and come down here and click on help, they've written a pretty good article on how Markdown works, and they've given you a lot of examples of the different Markdown to format and style your text. The biggest thing you need to be aware of is headings. And headings is what really drives the navigation and table of contents within the universe. So what does that mean? Well, in my introduction here, I'm going to go ahead and click. You can see over to the left, I have the different sections of the introduction, and underneath them, I have subsections. So if I come over here to D&D Beyond, you can see right here is my introduction. If I click in there, you can see I have these subheadings: running the adventure, background, overview, adventure hook. Over here, same thing: introduction, running the adventure, background, overview, adventure hook. Great, makes sense so far. And then if I go to running adventure and I click here, you can see I have these now subcategories. And in Alchemy, it's represented sort of as a indented, the Dungeon Master, improvising ability checks. So again, Dungeon Master, improvising ability checks. So that's important to make sure that when you're adding your text, Alchemy recognizes two heading levels. They recognize an H1, so a heading 1, and they recognize H2, or a heading 2. I'll be honest, I wish that Alchemy went one level deeper to a heading 3. I'm going to show you in just a bit that there are some adventures where you toggle down and you have these subsections, and then these subsections also have one more toggle down. Alchemy does not do that, and so if you have an H3, you will not be able to see it on the left navigation and navigate to it. You won't know it's there unless you're actually in the article itself reading. So I'll show you how we'll overcome that for now. Again, Alchemy is not even at version 1, so I suspect down the road they may be revising or revisiting how they've structured this. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is convert this data over here in D&D Beyond to Markdown. And the best way to do that is using a Chrome extension. And if you go to the Chrome extension store, you can either type in Markdown, or you can just type in this specific one that I'm going to use, and it is called Markdown Web Clipper. If you go ahead and add this to your Chrome, up in your top right hand, you can't see my bar. Let's see if I can. No, you can't see it, but it'll add a little icon to the top right of your Chrome bar, and that's what you're going to need to convert this. So once you have that installed, you're going to go to Lost Mine of Phandelver, or whatever adventure you're going to convert, and you have a couple of decisions here to make. So within the universe, you can create articles, and I've chosen to go ahead and create an article for each main chapter. So in this adventure, there's an introduction, there's a part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. You can see here I've only done introduction, part 1, and part 2. We can go ahead and get rid of this one. This is a duplicate. So each article is going to represent a part in the adventure. So what I'm going to do is start with the introduction, and I'm going to go ahead and click it open. And once it's open, I'm going to come up to the top of the browser to where that extension is. And I'm going to go ahead and click it. And once I click it, you can see it's now converted the web content into Markdown. And I can go ahead and click the download button. Now, depending on whether you're on a PC or Mac, you can open this file with any text editor. On the Mac, it comes with the default of text edit. So that's what I'm going to use to pull up my text. And you can see here, I'll go ahead and make this bigger and zoom in so you can see it. There we go. Immediately, you can see that it is added all of the appropriate Markdown for this information. Earlier, when I said that Alchemy RPG only recognizes 2 levels of hierarchy on its navigation, it's an H1 and an H2. H1 is represented as 1 hashtag, H2 is represented as 2 hashtags, and H3 is 3 hashtags, and so on. And you can see that right here in the help article within Alchemy. What I found is that the way that D&D Beyond structured their content is that the highest level that they have is actually an H2. So this is going to not create a great structure for you within Alchemy. So you've got to do a couple of things to get this ready to be copy and pasted over. The first thing you need to do is you need to go into this document and promote every heading to the next level up. So what do I mean by that? Well, you can see here that this introduction is an H2 and this running the adventure is an H2, but I need these to be H1s. So I need the 2 hashtags to turn into 1 hashtag. And then furthermore, I have this dungeon master and it's currently an H3. I need it to be an H2. So I need to take all of my H3s and promote them to H2. So fortunately, this is pretty easy to do within TextEdit, and most text editors should have this function. But if you have this window open and you press Command or Control F, it'll bring up the find function. You also have this option over here where you can hit replace. And what this is going to allow you to do is find something within your text and replace it with something else. So if you remember what I said earlier, I want to find all heading 2s, which is represented by 2 hashtags, and I want to replace it with only 1 hashtag. And you can see, you probably can't see this on the recording, but it says right here that there are 12 H2 headings, and I want to replace them all with H1s. So rather than hitting replace, I'm going to go ahead and hit replace all. And it has now converted all of my heading 2s to heading 1s. Now I'm not quite done yet. Now what I need to do is I need to go and find all my heading 3s, and I need to convert them to heading 2s. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to hit all, and it's now gone ahead and promoted all of my H3s to H2s. Now in this, I don't think that there's any H4s, but just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and find all my H4s and promote them to H3s and hit all. Great. And I'm going to hit done. So now we're ready to move over. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a new article just to show you how to do this from scratch. I'm going to call this one introduction, and I'm going to call it V2 because I already have an introduction. And then I need to come down here and start putting in my text. So you can see here that under my introduction, I just have this little bit of content. I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and I'm going to paste it right there. And then I'm going to go down further, and I'm now going to take all of the rest of this, and I'm going to copy it and paste it right in there. And check it out. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Bam. Look at that. I've got all of the content in there. You can see that my headings are now appropriate. I've got my subheadings. It even brought in the various images because the content has links. If I click on this, it will take me actually to the D&D Beyond page, and it will give me the map. Same with other parts of content. So if anything is linked, let's see if we can find something. Yeah, so here we go. We've got King Grohl. If I click on him, it'll actually take me to D&D Beyond, and it'll show me the information that I need. Now I'm going to show you in a subsequent video. You can, if you want, choose to not link out to D&D Beyond, and you can choose to actually link within Alchemy itself. So when we go and create King Grohl as a NPC, rather than linking to D&D Beyond, I can actually link to the NPC within Alchemy. So that was pretty easy. And as you would imagine, if I wasn't sitting here explaining it to you and walking you through it, this may have taken me less than 5 minutes, right? So there's one thing that you need to be aware of within D&D Beyond. And if I scroll through this adventure, and I don't have to go far until I see one of these highlighted text areas. Now within D&D Beyond, they use an HTML markup called an aside. And an aside basically means it's a way to insert information within your content that you're telling the internet, hey, it's related to the article, but it can be separate. It can be to the side of the content. And unfortunately, there is not a markdown for an aside. So the markdown Chrome extension will not capture this information. It'll just skip right over it. Let me show you what I mean. If I come all the way down to the bottom, you can see right here, right above improvising ability checks, this is where that content should be, but you can see it's completely missing. So you're going to have to go in and manually add this. I will tell you from article to article, there can be as many as a few as 1 or 2, as many as 5 or 6. And let me show you how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit edit. And right here is where I want the content. And you can choose how you want to insert this. In markup, there is something called a callout. And if I come down here to callout, you can see that the way to do that is using 3 tilde signs for your title and then 3 tilde signs to end it. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and this is called rules to game by. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 tildes. For those of you that don't know where the tilde is, it's just on most keyboards, it's typically the key right to the left of the number 1. I'm going to go ahead and paste in rules to game by. Now, I'm going to show you a bug that currently exists in Alchemy as of this recording. I'm sure they'll fix it later. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's just something to be aware of, but I'll show you in just a moment. Then I go ahead and go to the next line, copy this, paste it in, just one more space, and then put my 3 tildes, and gonna go ahead and click done. You can see it's now used this sort of light gray box to make it similar to this, you know, an aside, but it's called a callout in Markdown. Now let me point out the bug here. So you can see here that I actually pasted the words rules to game by, and for some reason it's only giving me to game by. And for whatever reason, this will hide the first character in the title. Now, whether that character is a single letter or it's a single word, it just disappeared. I haven't really figured out what's going on. So what I do is I just duplicate the first letter of the first word, just like that, and put a space and then hit done. And there we go. It works just fine. I'm sure they'll fix that in an upcoming release, but it's just something to be aware of. Okay, cool. So if I go back to my D&D Beyond and just scroll down, I've got, I think, one more. Yep. So right below, or right above the map, right in between here, I need to add this. So I'll just come here and click edit. And I'll hit enter, enter. Okay, 3 tildes. Let's go ahead and grab my title, copy, space. I'm going to go ahead and just put an R and then a space and then paste it. Again, that's that bug. And depending on when you're watching this video, you may or may not need to do that. I'll go ahead and copy this, paste it in, enter, and then I'll close out my call out with 1, 2, 3 tildes. Go ahead and hit done, and boom, there we go. It took a little bit extra work, but assuming it's 5 minutes per module, you're looking at what, 5, 10, 15, 20? You're looking at about 25 minutes max, I would say, to convert this size adventure over into Alchemy. You know, the good news is once you've converted it over, it exists. You can use it, you know, to your heart's content. Now, obviously, you wouldn't be done with creating this adventure. And in upcoming videos, I will walk through how to create scenes, how to create NPCs, and then how to create various magic items, which are all things that you would want to create if you were actually going to run this adventure. So hopefully this was helpful for you if you're thinking about or contemplating whether or not you want to use Alchemy RPG to run your adventures. Listen, it's free to sign up. I encourage you to go check it out. I think you get up to 3 universes and 3 characters for free, at least as of now. And, you know, I think it's a really unique way to run a story. And listen, it doesn't really require a ton of work to convert your existing content that you have on D&D Beyond onto Alchemy. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful or if there's anything else you'd like to see around how to use Alchemy RPG. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.